but I do have her on the phone, so she has the benefit of listening in and joining us all today. So give a round of applause for your team, everyone. All right, I'm putting you on the table now, Mom. So my mom was asked to come here today and to talk about the process of creating music and how music fits into our liturgy. Um, my mom has done music obviously for as long as I've been alive, but really for as long as she has been alive. Music is something that's a part of our souls. It's in the way that our heart beats. It's something that binds us together in every phase of our lives. When we're at our highest and our lowest moments, music can be there for us. So my mom prepared a few remarks just to kind of talk about her history. So I'm going to paraphrase, not quite read them here for you today, but just to give you an understanding of her background in music. So at the age of 4, and I am now Denyce, she began attending concerts with my grandmother at the art gallery. My grandmother would pick out a song that she thought that my mom could understand. And they'd listen to that song and talk about it on the way home. By the time my mother was 10, her two sisters started joining them at concerts at the Carter Barron. And it became a family thing, the music. It was always a very important part of her life. And she spent a lot of her time learning songs and memorizing those words so she could sing them. And it seemed like to her that there was always sort of a song in her head. There was always a melody playing, much like you know how we get those earworms where you hear a little jingle da 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 da, and all day long you are da 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 in the back of your head. Well, that's how music has always been for my mother. It's always been something that was there with her. Just like my sisters and I used to do, she spent time with her sisters creating songs, creating little dances, singing about every phase of your life. You sing about getting up in the morning. You sing about what you need. You sing about, all the aspects that bring us together. And then there's the poetry that goes with those songs. My mom really enjoyed watching my grandmother. If you all think I could sing, you all should have heard my grandmother sing. I mean, opera like you wouldn't believe. She would sing Ave Maria on a Tuesday like there was nothing to it. My grandmother would always write songs about my grandfather, about her love for him, about the family that they had. And you use that song and the piano as a reference for moving through life. During every Christmas, we would all come together, my aunts, my cousins, and we would stand around the piano, and my grandmother would play. And every single person in that room was going to sing every single Christmas song that my grandmother's hands could remember that day. I always joke with the choir. I say this all the time that people say, "Do you know that song?" And I always say, "Probably," because the music is inside of your head. It is part of who we are. Those melodies are familiar, those lyrics are familiar. And so at the time when my mother started taking private lessons for the piano, she was up at 8 a.m. She was never late. She never missed a single part of her lesson. Got on the bus by herself. It was her desire and her passion to live a life filled with music. When my aunt Coletta was born, she was 4 years old. My mother was actually 17. She wrote a little song for her, and I remember learning it. It was called "Pretty Pretty Little Girl," just about how she felt about her. And the songs could be about anything. They can be about the trees. They could be about the seasons. It could be about, something that you saw today. It didn't have to make sense. It just was a part of moving through. It's almost as if you all have seen musicals where they break into song on every aspect. All you all will tell me that's something that my family does. We break into song for no reason at all. But it's a way really of giving life and giving a voice to what you're feeling, especially when you're in difficult situations. A lot of where my mother's music comes from is in her spirit. You know, part of, they always say that when you sing, you praise God twice. We lift our voices up and we join that choir of angels and we give the ultimate gift of our souls to Him, because when you're singing, you are laid bare, you are open. The same way that you might occasionally catch one of us getting a little tear as we're singing, the same that we sometimes look out and see you, with the passion and the spirit of what we're listening to. That is what music does for us. And that's why, in a way, it's such an integral part of the Mass and of worshiping our Lord. So, wanted me to talk about, before we get into the how music gets, is copyright. Because to create music is fantastic, but to protect it is even better. So when you create music, you have a copyright. As soon as you write it down and as soon as you record it, it is already yours. You don't actually have to do any particular thing other than keep a log of when you created that music. But if you want to protect it, you need to file something with the government so that you can then enforce your rights. Music it's one of those things where I always say there's a certain number of chords, there's a certain number of melodies, and there's a certain number of ways of doing it. So there's always going to be overlap. But it's that uniqueness that we put into creating a song that makes that music ours. You know, I watched this video the other day, and there's a 4-chord progression that you can play that you will find in more than, and literally the guy did them on the video, more than 100 popular pop songs follow that 4-chord progression. But if you listen to them, they're not all the same because those notes are just the beginning of where music comes. So I asked my mom, where does the music come from? Where do the words come from? I said, you need to answer 3 questions. Where do the lyrics come from? Where do the melodies come from? And how do you put it all together when you're creating music? And the one thing she said to me, she talked about what her daily routine is. One thing I will say about my mom is that her worship of God and her desire to become closer to Him is truly a part of every aspect of her life. She wakes up in the morning and begins a morning meditation. Alexa, play the daily devotional, she said. And she listens to it. Not 1, not 2, but 3 different times. 1 for the Father, 1 for the Son, and 1 for the Holy Spirit. But she listens to it and she reflects on it. She learns what the scripture is for today. And then she sits and thinks about it, and reflects on it, and allows that important part to come through and to seed itself into her mind. To where maybe just 1 line, it's a blessing to be here today. And that may be the word that is whispered to her every day. She and I go on my morning walks and I call her in the morning and we talk about what's your song? Because you wake up and there's a song that's in your head that just wants to go on a loop, you know? And so I'll say, my song is this. And she'll say, oh, my song is this. And then she might actually change my song occasionally, so you never know. But then once she does that, her devotion, she works on her reflections, and she, as an active musician who lives her life through music, starts to write a melody. So there's what, 8 notes we can work on? A through G. So she'll sit there and, sometimes you wake up and the melody is already there. The melody has found itself in the middle of the night. I remember when we were one day working on our favorite song that we recorded out at Eddie's, and there was one section where we just couldn't figure out how it was supposed to go. And I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was done. And you jump up, and as they say, you jump up and you write those letters down. A, B, F, A, C sharp, D. That's all you put on a piece of paper, and you go back to sleep. And you let God continue the rest of it, and you wake up and you're able to play that inspiration. So when she gets that, she handwrites the notes, just A, F. And then from there, you got to figure out, how are those notes a melody? What's the timing going to be? Is this one going to be longer? Is that one going to be shorter? After you get that, you want to do the bass line, because as we know, the tenors carry the whole choir, don't you? Right. And then you got to put the harmonies together because they work. And the last thing that happens often is the lyrics. As music is a part of every phase of our life. We've got R&B music. So what are some other genres of music someone can think of? Rap. Anyone else? Country. Gospel. Jazz. Right. Well, they all work with the same notes, right? They all work with the same chords, but they do them differently. We watched my good friend Mike give us a little bit of jazz earlier. Those complex riffs, those little bits of dissonance that are built into it. But then we get our gospel, and we've got that driving rhythm, that beat, that urgency, or your R&B where you're trying to relax. So music is part of everything that we do. One thing that I don't know if you all are aware of is there is a lot of music that is being written right before you every Sunday. Literally. Literally. My mother, she'll say, and I know you all may see me get up right after that, right before the first reading, and walk over and talk to her. That's usually the reminder of what the response is today. And then she thinks, all right, and she writes a melody. It may be one that we've used before. We do have some tries and true, and sometimes it's just whatever she's feeling that day. And I want you all, I'll challenge you to watch my face next time. Because when it starts, I close my eyes and I listen, and then I nod because I've caught her melody. And then from there, I just sing what she just played. I've never heard it before this moment. Wow. And then the next thing she does is that she also taught me what her chords are going to be that I need to listen for. And as a fellow musician, I now need to work within those chords and work within those progressions. So I'm going to tell you, choir is not the entire verse completely made up. But the beautiful part of that is because music is such a part of our lives and such a part of who we all are, there's a natural place that things go. There's a natural way that things build. One thing I tell the cantors and the psalmists when we're working on putting together those parts is that you look at those verses and you know which words are important. You know what the message is. And when you're singing or when you're playing, you're part of trying to convey that message. When you say praise, you raise your voice up. You raise your tone up. When you're saying something that's contemplative, you slow it down for them. So, I decided today, now that we know and we've seen how music is made, you all are going to help me make some music. Amen. Right now.
Yes.
Choir. I warned a few of you. But if any table that does not have a choir member at it, would you please go join our parishioners? I'll wait. James, Leroy, no fair leaving two at that table. James, move somewhere else. How about over here, James? Thank you, Karen. Karen, it looks like there are no choir members over there. All right, we got to do this quickly because I've only got 8 more minutes left. All right. I'm going to assume you all have your choir members. Walk faster. Don't look confused. Find the back of the room over there, Yvette, please. Our young lady in the black hat, Yvette, please join her at that table. Over there. Over there. All right, so they're going to keep making their way over. All right. We got enough choir members. Mick, you're responsible for help. He's here. James is here. Okay. So you all have heard me sing, oh, Lord, receive our prayer. Oh, Lord, receive our prayer. Now, the response for this week, what was it again? Lord, Yvette, we just remembered it. Strengthen your people. What? Oh, okay, no. So, at the beginning, my mother has a better suggestion. We're going to use her suggestion. In the beginning of Mass tomorrow, right after we do our silent processional, we are going to all say, Lord, I come to you, in the same way we did this past Mass. Remember that? Lord, I come to you, as we were doing during the Stations of the Cross. Well, you all have 2 minutes. Your tables are to write a melody for Lord, I come to you. Your notes. Let's hear some notes. La, 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 la. You hear how notes go? Pick a few notes and create a melody for me. Lord, I come to you. All right, Mama, they ain't work that. Ladies and gentlemen. Lord, I come to you. Lord, I come to you. I'm not done yet. another table. We don't want to leave anyone out of this creative process. Okay, choir, time's up. All right, all right, all right. This is a brief creative process. Okay, so I know you all have not had a lot. Andra, you got it. All right, so I'd like to hear them. James, all right. You want to start? Direct your team. 1, 2, 3. Oh Lord, I come to you. All right, let's do that together. Ready? Oh Lord, I come to you. Beautiful. Ready? Oh Lord, send me your love. I like that too because you know what? They didn't need to come. They just wanted to love. Creative process right at work here. And you know, that's a great example of how a song grows. Is that you start with one idea. And so, Lord, I come to you. Oh, Lord, send me your love. We got two lines going here. Now you can go back. What you got for Lord, I come to you? Lord, I come to you. Oh, all right. All right. Beautiful. Yvette? Lord, I come to you as I place my trust in you. All right. Okay. Sister, I know you got to follow that one. What you got for me? Sister? You got this. Lord, I come to you. Beautiful, beautiful. Gus? Oh, I come to you. Notice those subtle changes of holding one word differently. Merwin? Merwin? All right, we'll come back. Diane, are you ready? Totally different vibe. Okay, okay. All right, who's next? Diane? Oh, Kirsten? Kirsten? Oh, awesome! All right. Violina. Lord, I come to you. Oh, let's do that one. Ready? Woo! We got some ringers in here, I tell you. Diane, you ready? Very good. All right, Leroy. So I know we don't have a ton of time, but I just want to underscore to each of you that music is within all of us. We all have a creative spirit. And it doesn't matter if you got the best or the worst voice in the room, so long as you understand that when you lift your voice, you truly praise God and you join us all together as one, we can all move forward. Thank you so much for this time, and hopefully we can do one of those melodies tomorrow. Oh, one thing. There are little flyers here if you have more interest in the copyright process, just so you can pick it up so you can see it's sort of a flow chart of how it works. It's very simplified. There we go.
Our next presentation is going to be done by Xcel Hip Hop Dance Company. And I'm going to have Tanisha come up and kind of give you a background on that.
Good afternoon. It is so befitting that the theme is Black History in the Arts. And yes, music does move us in all kinds of ways. And while we listen to our music, we also move our bodies, which is through dance. And so that is the premise of this Xcel Hip Hop Performance Company, which my daughter Naya Roberts is a part of. And this is the CEO of the company. Her name is Gabrielle Lee. Entrepreneur, black-owned company. Xcel Hip Hop Performance Company was founded in 2016. It's an extraordinary dance establishment with a notable past. Their core purpose is to offer a stage for women, including young girls, to convey their emotions through dance, with a focus on top-tier discipline and innovative choreography. We have crafted a distinct and unparalleled identity, seamlessly connecting community engagement with the world of performing arts. I give to you my baby, Naya Roberts, the dancing spirit. I have my glasses. Oh. Can you turn it up? Not turn it up.
We are the tempo, you are the voice, we are your song, you are our God, we are your people, you are the light, we stand in awe. We stand in awe of you. We stand in awe of you. Not by might, not by power, by your spirit, God. Send your spirit, God. Not by might.
That was a beautiful presentation. Okay, our third presenter for today is going to be from the Dorothy Rogers Walker Ballet Studio. Dorothy, also known as Dot Walker, began her dance training with the Incarnation Dance Group and later danced with workshops for careers in the arts. She continued her studies and danced with the Pittsburgh Ballet Company. She later returned to Washington, D.C. and joined the Jones Haywood School of Ballet and the Capitol Ballet Company, established by Doris Jones Haywood. In 1983, she joined St. Mark's Dance Studio faculty, teaching children and adults ballet and jazz. She's been on several committees, including the Washington Post Music and Dance Scholarship Review Board. She continues teaching at St. Mark's Dance Studio as a faculty and ballet mistress. She serves as a member of the Beyond the Ballet Bar Live. This group, formerly the Ballet Collective, formed a collaboration with Canada's National Ballet School. In November of 22, she escorted 8 exchange students from 4 different DC dance studios to attend Canada's National Ballet School in Toronto. She's also served as a guest teacher at Canada's National Ballet School. I now present Ms. Walker.
Hello and good afternoon. Can everyone hear me? Yes. Okay, because that might be just my natural tone, is to always speak out anyway, but I want to say good afternoon. Thank you for the introduction. I am a ballet instructor and artistic director at St. Mark's Dance Studio. Our dance studio is located inside St. Mark's Episcopal Church at 3rd and A Street Southeast, and has existed for over 60 years. Father, thank you for inviting me today to attend, speak, and bring dancers of all representation for Black History Month. Today we gather here to celebrate an art form that transcends boundaries, defies gravity, and speaks the language of the soul. Ballet, with its grace, precision, and storytelling, has captivated audience for centuries. Yet, as we delve into the world of ballet, it is essential to recognize and celebrate its evolution, particularly in the realm of diversity and inclusion. Traditionally, ballet has been associated with a certain image, one of delicate ballet dancers, often portrayed with fair skin. However, today, we stand witness to a beautiful transformation within this art form. We celebrate the emergence of dance of color, especially Black dancers, who are enriching the ballet world with their unique, positive talents and stories. Diversity is not about representation. It is about honoring the multitude of experiences and narratives that make up our global community. When we embrace diversity in ballet, we open the door to a deeper connection with audience worldwide. In the mid-1970s, while in college pursuing dance, I was faced with challenges of my skin color and know firsthand the discrimination handed to me 2 weeks before performance. I was told I could not perform in a classical ballet performance unless I could lighten my skin with more makeup. At that time, the door was not opened for me to stand on stage. However, the dean of the college opened the door, and I was able to perform. Just that opportunity made the difference, and it did not stop me from dancing and learning. It only made me stronger and persistent to continue classical ballet and to teach. Now, you might hear me say classical ballet, not just dance, not just ballet, but classical ballet. It is a different form. It is your classical ballets. You might have gone to see Swan Lake, Les Sophies, Graduation Ball. All of these are considered what they used to say the white ballets. Not white by skin, it was white by purity. We should also dance by purity. We should also have classical ballet. Nothing should stop us. That is just how life is for me and for the students. The journey toward diversity in ballet has not been without its challenges. Historically and still today, Black dancers face barriers and discrimination within the ballet industry. Yet, in the face of adversity, they persevere, breaking down barriers and paving the way for future generations of dancers. That is why I go to Canada. Some of the Canadians are not used to seeing a person of color teaching classical ballet. And I'm thinking, really? Okay, good. I'm doing my passion, so I'm just going to teach. But today we pay tribute to the trailblazers like Arthur Mitchell, the founder of Dance Theater of Harlem. I had the privilege of taking a summer 6, 8, 12 weeks with DTH back in the 70s under Arthur Mitchell. So I carry that legacy with me and his teachings. You know, he really broke down a lot of the status quo and created a platform for Black dancers to thrive. We honor Misty Copeland, who shattered, stereotypes and became the first Black female principal dancer at the American Ballet Theater. But right here in Washington, D.C., we have our own trailblazers. Jones and Haywood, they're on Delafield and Georgia Avenue. Thurl Smith, she taught in D.C. public schools for many years. I think Thurl is like 102 right now. It's still kicking. And her school was operated on Bunker Hill Road. And B. Davis, the B. Day Center is up on Georgia Avenue. So please know when young dancers see themselves reflected in the performance on stage, they dare to dream bigger, reach higher, and believe in their own potential. As we celebrate diversity in ballet, let us also recognize the importance of ongoing efforts to promote equity and inclusion within the dance industry. We must continue to support initiatives that provide accesses to training, mentorship, and performance opportunities for dancers of all backgrounds, just like today. As a dance teacher, my hopes and dreams are that they continue to dance with passion and spread the grace and poise of classical ballet everywhere they go. Thank you, Dave, and the community for inviting us today. In closing, I invite you to join me in applauding the dancers, if you can let them in for me, Dave, whom I brought today from St. Mark's, to give a short demonstration. Good. And then you can turn around. Good. Oh, good. And then you can turn around. Great. And face the audience. So you're listening to music from Swan Lake, and I'm going to call out the steps for the young ladies. And preparation, arms up 1, open descending, and 2 in a row. Can I get 2 lines? There we go. Good. All right, connect. everyone see these beautiful, beautiful young ladies right here? All right, and give me a deep demi-plie, and stretch, and demi-plie again. And they are standing in first position, entendu to second. Give me a plie, thank you, and stretch, and plie, and rondeggion to fourth, and plie, and stretch, and plie, stretch, tendu to fifth, and plie, and stretch, and plie, and stretch, releve up, arms at fifth, stretch up, nice, and come down. Why don't we continue four tendus and go left. Keep going. There you go. Just travel along the way. 3, 4 dégagés. Oh, it's been French I'm speaking as well. 2, 3, 4 passes. And 1, 2, 3, 4, susura, and bourrée 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, spread out. 4, there you go, lovely. And come down and chassé arabesque. And 1, nice. And 2, keep going. Nice. And keep going. 3. And keep going. 4. Right, keep going. 5. Give me one more. 6. And releve up. And bourrée to the very end, ladies. Go. And send in the bluebirds. Send in the bluebirds. All right, and my next group coming in, there are 3 young ladies coming in. All right. And up you go, ladies. And you have the space right here. So give yourself some room. Give yourself some room. And I'll introduce the other young ladies, but these young ladies today, this is Sophie. Sophie, wave to everyone. Kylie. Nicola. All right, they are going to perform a variation called Bluebird. Lovely. Lovely. Thank you. And up, ladies, take a bow. Very nice. Thank you. And our last student is going to come in and show you the students who danced were wearing ballet slippers. This young lady is wearing point shoes. So I'm going to hold her because I said, you do not want to slip on this floor. Okay, so I would prefer to hold her and call off. So this young lady is coming up. Her name is Electra, and she's gone with me to Canada. All right, so for anyone who may not know, these are point shoes. So I know they're all there you go. She is standing on point. It's like paper mache, but it's much stronger. The shoes are handmade. And if you just turn slowly so they can see the shoes, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lovely. Okay, so she'll show you a passe on point. So when you go to the ballet, trust me, it's real important that they are on the proper floor. And this right here is like kitchen floor, so they, I want them to protect their feet, their body, and everything. All right, thank you. So let me ask, does anyone have any questions for me? Okay, yes.
What school were you in where the dean let you in?
You mean the college?
College.
You want me to really rat them out? Yeah, I called them and said, what can we do, okay? Because I paid a price for that. By going to the dean and to ask to perform Swan Lake, he went to the teacher and she said, no, we give that position to the junior. Dot is only a sophomore. This is in college. And I said, okay. He said, well, she's just as good as everyone else. But it was referred to as upstaging. If you go to a performance and you see one person who doesn't look the same, you might have a tendency to look at them. And so that is what was happening back in the 70s. So the dean from Point Park College in Pittsburgh said she has to perform. We have her on scholarship. And I said, my parents are coming to see me. And, it's a big deal. And it was important. And because I defied my teacher, I received an F for the entire year. So that was, I just felt, I could walk around with that. I already knew who I was. I didn't need an F to confirm or not confirm. I knew at one point in my life, I would be out here, and look at what I'm doing now. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
How many years of training does it take from being a novice to what we saw today?
Oh, okay. Girls, would you like to come out for a moment? And some of them start very young. We try to get them when they're about maybe 4 or 5. By the time they get to 8, they should learn certain steps. These young ladies here are, the youngest pup is 10 in this group. Yeah, and they're pretty much like teens, like 13, 15. So I would say they need to take ballet class or a class, may it be modern, jazz, Pilates, hip hop, anything, at least twice a week. And then ballet, you have technique. So these young ladies come to the studio 2, 3, I think Electra comes 4, 5 times a week, about 4 times a week, right. So yes, it does take a commitment. But to go into the professional world, that's even harder. That's even harder. But if you are committed and you have that passion and you want to do it, go for it. We only have one life to live. But I would like to introduce the young ladies who came out today. This is Electra and Natalia and BB and Ann Maxwell, Sophie, Nikolai, Melina, Kylie, and Joe. Call her Joe. Any other questions? Well, thank you. Oh, to stand on their own point? They need good technical ballet training, and there are some of the young ladies here who are doing pre-point. They're not completely up on full point as Electra is. Pre-point, can you just show them pre-point? Just, Demi. Yeah, just halfway. But they're being groomed in that box, in that point shoes. And those shoes run about maybe $100 American dollars.
How many did you go through?
Many. Well, there are some people who like get 2 and they hold on to it and stretch. But if you're professional, you need like 4, like maybe every 3 weeks. And you break them in. Any other questions? Yes.
Do you see more young girls of color in your
Yes, yes, I do, yes. But do I see more young girls of color coming in? Absolutely. I want all children of all color to be dancing as much as possible. And I'm trying to reach out to more schools to say, if your child is sitting at home, bring them to me, okay? We'll work out, we have scholarship from inside of St. Mark's. We have that, it's very possible. So if you know anyone, I'm available, we'll take it. Okay, we love the grandbabies. Yes, ma'am.
From the time that they start off, you were saying they're 4 years old, what's the age that they can become professionals?
Oh, it really depends on their line of, they're not going to take a 14-year-old to be professional. Misty Copeland probably, yeah, she came like in her late 20s, so she's in her 30s. I would say someone who is going to college, nowadays I encourage individuals who wish to pursue, go to a college that offers dance and something else. You know, because it's always good to have that backup, dance and something else. Because your passion may not last, your passion will last always, but your feet and your knees and some of those things, sometimes there's a little expiration sticker on all of them. It's just about eating and staying healthy all the time. Yes, ma'am. And any men dancers? At this time, no, but at one point we had 3, 4. We actually had a military family that had 5 boys at the studio at the same time. Yeah. So, yes, it's very possible. But every year it changes, and I'm always competing with soccer or something else. But I do try to get the boys in to let them know, take ballet. How else are you going to play soccer or play football? Oh, football, how are you going to get that ball over, you know? So, yes. And it's, you know, there will always be that, nah, I'm not quite sure about my child. But when they're out there playing sports, they really should know how to take good care of their body. They should. Well, thank you again. I appreciate this opportunity. He's a wonderful student. Thank you, thank you. You're more than welcome to sit up and walk through the door, ladies. You can wave goodbye and you can start walking out. And okay, y'all don't want to go? Like, they don't want to go?
Okay, thank you again, ladies. You did a beautiful job. I'd also like to again thank Naya for coming out. I know she has to prepare for another performance tomorrow. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is actually recognize, we're going to honor committee members that were here from the beginning back in 1975. I'm first going to recognize those that are still living, starting with Dolores Cole. And if you're here, please stand up so that they'll know who you are. Dolores Cole, Dorothy Farley, Ed Monroe, Sally Moore, Brenda Washington, and Dolores Williams. So all of these ladies and gentlemen are still with us, thank God. And we appreciate and we're happy that you started this program, and next year we'll be honoring you again at the 50th. Okay, the next list of names I'm going to give you are members that have passed on. Samuel Armstrong, Mary Barksdale, Michael Brewer, Wanda Brown, Barbara Burris, Julia Bush, Eula Cleveland, Carrie Koger, Ethel Crawford, Jacqueline Crawford, Veronica Crockett, Sherdina Dempsey, Alice Halterwanger, Moselle Harris, Frances Haylock, Loretta Jackson, Dorothy Jones, Severn McDaniels, Dora Robinson, Mary Schiff, Martha Smith, Mary Sorrell, Christine Thompson, Miriam Whitehead, and Teresa Whitley. Please, let's give them all a applause. And while we're doing this, can I have all of my current committee members please stand so that you can be recognized and thanked? Also, while I'm doing thank yous, I'd like to thank our caterer, Stefan Washington. If Stefan is still back there, can you please come out? I think everyone enjoyed their food. He has cards up here on the table. His business is called Simply Marvelous Catering Company. So thank you to Stefan and his family members that helped out with the preparation and serving of the food. Okay, we will now have our illustrious pastor, Father David Barber, to come up and say a few words.
First of all, good afternoon. And as we're passing these sheets out, hopefully everyone get one in hand. I'll wait until everyone has any remarks revolve around the statement from Paul Bailey. Someone need some over there? First of all, thanks to the committee and all the volunteering and planning and organizing and serving, cooking, all that are part in making today, and also our Black History Month celebration throughout February meaningful and uplifting. And I especially want to thank Dorothy Rogers, Rogers Walker. I know as Rogers because I've known this family since 1972. And actually, she didn't tell you, I performed her marriage 47 years ago. So in any case, I always ask her and her husband, okay, are you still married? You know, but they're doing well, they have raised 3 children. Okay. Well, my remarks revolve around the statement you all have in hand. Pearl Bailey, because I think this is something that we need to work on regarding our young people. Amen. Pearl Bailey's statement, but no one can figure out your worth but you. I feel that part of the problem, personally, in terms of my experience over the years, not just recently, our young don't feel worth. And that they get identified and told who they are, what they can do or can't do by other elements. Society, social media, teachers, parents, often get pushed and told this way, not that way, my way or no way. But they don't work on trying to discover and to discern with them what they might have within, but also to really plant the ingredient that you have worth. You're worthy of more than just this. You heard Dot's statement. You heard Dot's statement about how the barriers she faced, getting an F from the teacher, having to change her complexion or whatever. She didn't tell you a lot of others situations that I'm aware of, but anyway, she kept on going because she knew she had worth. You understand? And I think that we have to, as adults and mentors and parents and parishioners, church members, adults, and also to encourage our young families and whatnot, but also to work with our nurturing and rearing of young people and children and youth to try to help them realize and make known they have worth, and to try to help them discover that in terms of creative genius within them. I always remember the final interview that Robert Oppenheimer did, the Dick Cavett show. I'm aging myself. The Dick Cavett show some years ago, before he died, asking him about his feelings regarding being responsible in a very intense way that you probably noticed from the movie for the development of the atomic weaponry and the atomic bomb. And it was a very stirring and sad presentation in that documentary in terms of his remorse and heavy-heartedness. But he said something about young people. And he said, don't deny, just because of what I did with my challenge, don't deny the fact that in children walking the streets of our cities, they have a genius within them that can solve the most difficult problems of physics. Okay? A genius within them. You may get a chance to view, when you go out to the annex, paintings of a young person growing up in Southeast Washington as Jordan, whom I mentored and knew over the years and taught in our school, also Francis Xavier when I was pastor there, who then tapped the resources, even though he told he wasn't worth it, and that he could come to nothing. Went to Mackin, had difficulty there, but did graduate. Went to Pratt Art School and did finish barriers, but was successful at the University of Maryland, an art exhibit that he exhibited prior some years before he passed. And he had talent, and many of you have witnessed the product of his talent on Christmas. That painting of the Holy Family that sits in Holy Redeemer Church on the top of the high altar is a painting he did in 1989. And he did a series of Stations of the Cross before he passed in 2001. I have been asked, and I have put them on display in the annex, the Station of the Cross that he did 1 year before he died. And we didn't like the issue of HIV and that developed in AIDS, and the barriers that he encountered and lack of services and the way he was treated, stopped him from communicating what he wanted to convey about his feelings about the spiritual life, the spiritual feeling, and those stations reflect his feelings regarding Jesus, the Station of the Cross, and they're encompassed by his experiences of his growing up in Southeast Washington, D.C. The point is, the creative genius in so many young people, and it doesn't have to just be, like Don was saying, go learn soccer so you get a scholarship, basketball so you get a scholarship. The English teacher at Gonzaga High School informed me that he works with the football players of Gonzaga and has constituted and shaped a club of those students, along with others, part of a poetry class. They've worked with them regarding poetic elements, and they published many of their poems in a collection of poems that Gonzaga publishes every year, and were also instrumental, as some of our committee members witnessed, in doing a presentation of Black History Month at the beginning of February. The point is, even though there might be a process to go in one direction, there's always another deeper spiritual and genius inside that can show itself in dance, in poetry, in art, in spiritual life, and tapping that spiritual force within. And we have to try to help that through our witness, through our conversation, and through our making sure that we try to encourage people, what? That you have worth. And with that word, it's not only that you can become something, you can make a difference, make a difference for the people, our people, but also a difference in changing society, so that others come to realize you have worth, and not just someone to be dismissed, or forgotten, neglected, or rejected. So I just encourage all of us to keep that in mind as we deal with our young, whether they're members of our families or not, but also our elderly, huh? Yes. Aging. I'm no longer capable. Well, I'm getting older. Can't get out and volunteer like I used to. Some even suffering from loneliness, but what's the point? The point is, what do you do? Can you so much the letter for me? Can you do this? You make phone calls? Some people, remember my mother, she learned needlepoint when she was older, younger. The corporals that I use on the altar, which you may not have looked at firsthand, are not ordinary linen corporals. They're all done by hand. And needle-pointed insignias of the first two letters of Jesus' name, embroidered, stitched on those corporals. People can do things because of a genius and creativity they have. Even the elderly who sometimes feel what? Worthless. So it's also not just the young, the elderly, but anyone, huh? Anyone. Returning citizens, the homeless. They feel they have no worth. And how do they try to get into, not just encouraging them, but help them to tap, figure out your worth. No one can figure out your worth but you. But to assist them discovering that in you, each one. I think that's what we're called to generally, to be the village, to raise people to be stronger, more spiritual, and more reflective, and manifesting the creative genius that God has planted within each of us. That's what I leave with you with my remarks, and a challenge for us to continue strengthening our people, strengthening our race, strengthening our anyone, in our encounters in society, experiencing, especially people who feel as if society has neglected them, forgotten them, or even the church has forgotten to dismiss them. So we have the responsibility to take a lead. We celebrate Black History Month, but we celebrate Eucharist week after week. Take the lead, helping people realize they have worth. Our phone calls, our cards, our gatherings, our outreach, our social advocacy, but especially giving them tasks to make them feel I have worth. Amen. Thank you, Nettie, for mending my sweater. Amen to that. Thank you again for being here. And I'll turn it back to Sharon now.
To piggyback on what Father mentioned about Pearl Bailey, I actually have a quote here from her, and her quote is, "People see God every day, they just don't recognize it." I want to do one more recognition before we leave. I want to thank Precious Robinson for doing this poster board that's back here. There's a board back here right under the clock. Oh, Sharon did? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I thought you did it. Okay, Sharon did the board. It's got music. What you would need to do is go over there and scan the QR code, and there's songs that have been downloaded for you to enjoy. So please take the time to go over there and scan the QR code. Everyone for coming out and celebrating with us.